guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from tinaheals.com, and this video is a very special video because today is Tuesday and it is the day of Mars, and I just had a Mars ritual. So I did a Mars ritual for a client, and then I decided on creating the video on how to do Mars magic straight away, because as you see, I'm dressed in all red, because to invoke Mars you must be dressed in red. According to the Greco-Roman Solomonic system, the image of Mars is a warrior. So when you want to invoke Mars, you invoke the archetype of the warrior, right? So before we begin a discussion, I want to start with the Bija mantra of Mars. So this is a mantra to Mars that will appease him. So it is to be done 21 times on Tuesday, day of Mars and hour of Mars. You can check that out in the planetary hours Google, if you can check it out. I will make a video on the planetary hours separately. Now, so let's begin by summoning Mars. Mars is not just competitiveness and strife. Mars is also our action principle. It is how we take action. Without Mars, there would be no movement. Nobody would achieve anything because nobody would be moving. Everything would be in a state of stasis. So from there, from Mars, we create new beginnings. More on that later. Let us invoke Mars with this very beautiful mantra. Om Angarakaya Namaha. Om Angarakaya Namaha. Om Angarakaya Namaha. This mantra, if you chant every Tuesday 21 times, of course in the hour of Mars will be preferable, then you will start to see more, a better exchange of energy with Mars, especially if Mars is a malevolent, right? So I will get to the mantras later. Let's get on the discussion and the remedies and all of that. So Mars. During the ritual, this is the sigil of Mars and this is the magic square of Mars. So you can invoke Mars through the sigil. So I'll tell you what, Mars, always remember that Mars is our action principle. So anywhere where you want to take action in life and you want to bring about change, you invoke Mars. A lot of dark magic is done with Mars and Saturn. In fact, all of the dark magic is done with Mars and Saturn as well. So Mars and Saturn can also work to counter that negative magic. So the first thing about Mars is full of iron. That's why it appears red. And so essentially the ancients, they saw the planets and they were staring at Jupiter and Venus that appeared very bright white lights. And then Saturn and Mars sort of appeared in a more diaphanous dark way. Mars was fiery red. So seeing red means rage, violence. And Saturn appeared brownish and more hazy to the human eye. So the ancients immediately attributed the qualities of benevolence to Jupiter and Venus. And of course attributed the malefic titles to Saturn and Mars. So Saturn is the greater malefic, Mars is the lesser malefic. But Mars is not just about problems. Mars is how we move, how we, push through experiences, okay? Now, of course, Mars is aggression, and Mars is not just aggression, but Mars sort of reminds me of a healthy Mars, reminds me of a samurai fiercely independent, loyal, protective, honorable. Mars in its higher manifestation is honorable, okay? And of course, Mars has to do with emotions, and we think Mars is hot and dry, and Moon is cold and moist. So, I mean, how, and Moon has to do with emotions. So, how can Mars deal with emotions? But if you really think about it, anger, jealousy, possessiveness, are these not emotions? Are these not fleeting emotions? So Mars is more centric towards the more violent outbursts of energy. Okay, so as I told you that Venus is about union. Venus unifies and harmonizes, and Mars separates. Fire is a sort of a separating agent, if you really think about it. It separates you from existence, sort of, makes you into ashes. So Mars separates and Venus unites. So within the processes of union and separation, there is a midpoint of a well-balanced Mars. How do we reach that? Well, not through driving under the influence of road rage or, tempestuous anger. Surely not. So, from the meaning of Mars being red, the ancients extrapolated the fact that Mars was fiery, passionate, full of lust, and full of and very libidinal. Mars has to do with sex. It's our libido, our sexual impulse. So it's a very, very diabolical energy. And the higher octave of Mars is, of course, Pluto. Right now, people try to use this tremendously potent Martian energy and do bad. That is, going to backfire on you. Now, oftentimes all the time, Mars is an indicator of divorce. So if you're going to have a divorce, Mars in your natal chart is definitely going to show that. Okay, and also, of course, libidinal dysfunctions like erectile dysfunction. A man, if someone's going through erectile dysfunction, and if you really study their natal chart, you can understand that they're probably experiencing maybe an opposition, Mars opposition to a personal planet, or to Mars opposition, Mars square. Some Mars aspect is hitting them, or of course Pluto, because Pluto is a higher octave of Mars. Remember that. Now, in the Vedic system, a bad Mars is known as Kuja or Mangal Dosh. Okay, and his tantric consort is Bagalamukhi, because oftentimes we do not know how to pray to Mars because of this fiery, angry energy. So oftentimes it is okay to approach a particular deity through through the Dasha Mahavidya. And Dasha Mahavidya, Bagalamukhi, is the consort of Mars, if I may say so. Okay, she is the feminine principle of Mars. Her color is yellow, and she is one of the Dasha Mahavidyas, or the 10 forms of the divine goddess. Okay, so, and even in hoodoo, okay, they make a war water, okay, and they call it Mars water, because Mars is diabolical energy, problematic energy, and this Mars water is made with hurricane water. Like you can take water from Hurricane Katrina, toilet water, sometimes graveyard dirt, their nails, or the name or the petition paper, and you can drop this Mars water in front of your enemy, and they will be besotted by misfortune. So, that's how even in hoodoo, Mars is used as an energy vortex to send curses and hexes. Okay. And again, with enemies, there's a huge association with enemies and Mars. Mars is about war, the military, and the worship of Bagalamukhi actually is counteracts with this, counteracts the plans of your, counterfoils the plans of your enemies. So that is why Bagalamukhi is known as Stambhan Shakti. Stambhan is to, like a thunderbolt of power comes to you with Bagalamukhi sadhana. Okay, and number of Mars is 5, and of course Mars is very prominent in my chart because Mars sits in my first house conjunct Venus, um, you know, and almost conjunct my ascendant degree. I've conjunct my ascendant degree and my north node. So I'm very Martian in a way, but the Mars in my chart has sort of lost its because it's Virgo, and it also has the Venus conjunct, and also Rahu is also of the constitution of Mars. So that sort of amplifies that feeling of Martian energy. That's why I am quite the warrior, you know, and I can have quite the temper. I used to, at least. Now, the Sephiroth with which Mars corresponds to is Geburah. Okay, and Geburah is all about valor. Okay, all about virtue and valor. So it's very Martian, okay, you can see. And so we have the pentagram, which is of course again a Martian symbol. And the pentagram of Mars can be used for banishing as well, okay, banishing rituals. Now, the dark side of Mars can be quite problematic. It deals with anger, wrath, accidents, violence, pain, destruction, and all of these negative emotions. Mars separates, I told you, and there's always this sort of really quick, fast moving energy with Mars. Okay, now the good attributes of Mars is motivation, passion, lust, honor, courage, and dominance. Sometimes you need dominance to assert your boundaries. Boundaries are important, so that's what Mars can help us do, achieve that power within us to stand up for what we believe is right. Now, strong Mars also means you are very, very powerful in bed. You can be quick because Mars is quick, but you're very powerful in bed, very possibly a dominant, unless of course you have, you know, Saturn on your Mars in Cancer, maybe they're not. Now, the negative qualities of Mars also lead to momentum. So Mars is not just, if you just look at the negative aspects like anger, wrath, accidents, violence, pain, destruction, all of this also creates an impetus for movement. Anger makes you do things, you know, you want to move, you want to do things, you want to change the situation. Okay, and so the tarot card of Mars is death, and I have the Thoth tarot with me today, so I just wanted to, you know, and look, I have death, and that's a synchronicity. So I have death. This is of course Mars rules Scorpio and Aries in traditional astrology, and now Pluto rules Scorpio in modern astrology. So this is one of Mars gods, okay. And we've got, of course, the Emperor, which is a card of Aries, and the Tower. Okay, so we've got, this is, I'm not going to show you other cards, but I was working with the Thoth deck today, so I thought to myself that, you know, why not? And I did not get my usual giant rider and weight, so there. The moon is beautiful in the top. So, the Emperor, okay? This is one of Mars cards. So this, and the Tower. The Tower, hopefully I will find it. If not, let us continue with the discussion. Mars is a driving force. Okay, the tower. So maybe we can meditate on these cards. You can use any of these cards for your rituals. Of course, if you're going to, expel something from your life and use Mars, and use the death card. If you want to change a situation and create magic in a particular situation to bring change, use the tower. And if you want to manifest structure and a way to really forge ahead and abundant spells of Mars, you use the Emperor. So these are 3 precious cards to contemplate on. You can draw the square of Mars and the sigil of Mars, and you can meditate on these 3 cards. Okay, now Venus is love and Mars is lust, but lust gets a bad name, because if you really think about it, relationships cannot just work with love only. Definitely not in the beginning, maybe later on, and Mars matures at about 24. So definitely till then, no, but maybe later on. But there's a huge part of lust that love encompasses. They are sort of, interdependent with each other, I think. And the thing with Mars is Mars wants external stimuli. Look at that, death, tower. Okay, I think this exemplifies it the most. Tower, Mars wants change, okay? And wants external stimuli. It always wants to be fed this stimuli. Right now, besides the all this negative connotations of Mars is our action principle. I told you that it is the power of our personal will. Without Mars, there is no will. There is no will to do anything. Ichha Shakti is Mars. Okay, and when we do magic, we want to enter a situation, okay, and we seek to bring change, like the tower. We seek to bring change. That is the job of the magician. That is what Mars helps us to bring change, okay? We can use incantation, we can use suffumigation, we can use processes like number magic. As I said, that using these 3 cards and the magic square and the sigil, there you have everything you need with the red clothes that you wear. And of course, this has to be done on the day of Mars and the hour of Mars. And then you can invoke this Martian energy into your life. Energy by itself is not good or bad. That's why people use Mars for negative work, for hexing and all of that destructive magic. If you really want to bring about change, use the magic of Mars. That's all I say. Use the magic of Mars, because that will bring change and will show you victory, because Mars is about victory. Okay, and of course, when used correctly. Mars is also associated to iron, the metal, and I link Mars to the sword suit a lot. Okay, because swords are like, they cut, and Mars cuts and burns. That is the primary energy of Mars. It cuts and it burns. Okay, but sometimes that is necessary, that is how the alchemists created gold out of lead. And this was not just a physical understanding of this, but a more spiritual mystique that probably underlies the whole concept and the whole component of this whole idea, right? Now, you can use iron ore in your spell work. As I said, iron ore will be very, very powerful because Mars rules iron. And you can use that in grounding, any kind of grounding, any kind of protection spell. And remember that in Mars, they have a very thin atmosphere. It has a very thin atmosphere. right? And because of that, it does not trap energy, so it's very quick moving. Everything comes and goes out, comes and goes out, comes and goes out. Okay, that's the Mars energy. Think of Aries. Scorpio is more like the water fixed expression of Mars, which is very different, sorry, from Aries. Now there's strong windstorms that happen in Mars, and it's made scars all over the planet. They're horrendous scars. That's why Mars deals with scarring. Mars also deals with screams, by the way. If you read traditional astrology textbooks, you can see that Mars has an association with screams. Makes me think of that painting by Norwegian painter Edvard Munch, with it's just characters just screaming, you know, almost with a Martian intensity, but not Mars in Aries, Mars in Virgo intensity. Now, Mars energy is root chakra, red root chakra, okay, and also solar plexus, which is yellow. Both these colors are friendly to Mars. So Bagalamukhi Mata is yellow, okay. Fire element, you know, fire, hot, dry, separatist urges to separate things, okay. And Mars has no water on its surface. If it does, it's already frozen, the water in Mars. And water is emotions, right? Moon rules Cancer, water sign, emotions. So Mars has no water, so there is the emotional component is almost you know, non-existent with Mars. And if you think about which sign he rules, again, Aries, no emotions, Scorpio, too much emotions, and exalted in Capricorn, again, you know, tight with the emotions. So not a really happy, emotional, friendly little planet, okay? Very powerful, very active, very masculine, yang energy, okay? So Mars spells also create action. They're very active spells. They change, okay? If you want your sex drive, your libido, you can do that with Mars magic, and if you know how to work with Mars magic. Body strength, if you want to lose weight, there is no better energy to invoke but Mars if you want to lose weight, okay? Wear red, as I told you. You can use a red candle, red cloth, and you can place all your magic squares and your tarot cards on it. And Tuesday, of course, check out the Hour of Mars. And especially if you have your moon or sun in Aries and Scorpio, this would be very, very good for you. You can do Mars magic regularly because Mars is your ascendant lord. Okay, now the world Mars period, okay, it all, there's a, as I said, there's an hour of Mars, there's a world Mars period that happens every year, and that is from July 3rd to August 23rd. Interestingly, I'm born on July 23rd, so I'm born under a Mars period. So this time from July 3rd to August 23rd, you can pretty much do Mars magic anytime. If of course you can make it a Tuesday, and you can, you know, do it on in the hour of Mars, it's even better, more amplified. Layers and layers of energy gets amplified. Okay, now a personal Mars time is 105 days after birthday. So you can count your birthday 105 days, and it lasts for 52 days. So all your personal Mars related problems, infertility, miscarriages, relationship woes, divorce, all of this work can be done after 105 days from your birthday. Up to 52 days it lasts. So that personal Mars work can be done like that. Okay, and the crystals are the ones that I use. Tons of crystals for Mars. Ones that I use: agate, bloodstone, carnelian, diamond, very expensive I know, garnet, red jasper, lava, onyx, fire opal, ruby, and watermelon tourmaline. It's one of my favorites. Okay, herbs, I work with ashwagandha, beads, acacia, carrots. You can make offerings of cashews. Cayenne pepper is very sacred to Mars. Coriander, garlic, ginger, wild rose thistle. Okay, so this is the sigil of Mars. Concentrating upon the sigil of Mars is also very productive. Tuesdays in the hour of Mars, drawing it out. Deities associated with Mars: Aries, and Astarte, Thor, and Mars. And the tree associated with Mars is pine tree. And the animal is ram, eagle, or wolf, right? Now, I'll give you a small prayer that I use for Mars. So after you've got your tarot cards, you've got your sigil, you've got your square, you take out your tarot cards. Okay, you've got death, maybe not death right now, maybe I don't want to really drastic change. I want to manifest some kind of, abundance. So I put the Emperor card on. I can use suffumigation, which is incense, of course, burning of incense. And you can use mustard oil, which is very, very powerful for Mars. And then you can just put a totem like a wolf image, very powerful. You can chant wolf magic, begin now. And then the small prayer that I use is, I invoke you, fierce and courageous Mars. Come unto me, awaken my energy. Give me passion, courage, glory. Give thy strength to me. Let me be in my sovereign power. Destroy my enemies, vanquish them, protect me and my beloved through your power. I call all my power back to me. And then you can also burn bay leaf. So that's it. I call all my power back to me. Calling your power back to you can be a very, very powerful Martian invocation. Okay. And vanquish the enemies. Oftentimes for me it is myself, my lower self. Even with Babylonica Mantra, it is Babylonica Mata has Tambhan Shakti, which means she stuns you into silence and she subjugates your enemies. These enemies are dark thoughts, incorrect words, greed, avarice. So your enemy is actually you. There is no external Lucifer, it is you. Remember that. Mars magic. Okay, so if you have like some kind of love spell on you, you want to banish that love spell, you need to use Mars spell for that. Okay, Gebura, which is the Sephiroth associated with Mars, it means strength and is a sort of a reflection of the Sephiroth Bina, which is associated to Saturn. And Gebura is related to the Vishuddha chakra or the blue chakra, Vishuddha chakra here, okay? Now, for instance, if you have Mars in 1st or 7th or 8th or 12th, then you have what is known as Manga dosha or Kuja dosha. And definitely you are going to have a divorce. Your marriage will fail in some way. So you need to light mustard oil diyas, as I told you, if possible under an acacia tree, banyan tree, oak tree. And on Tuesday, the hour of Mars, check out the hour of Mars, planetary hours. And you need to chant Om Kram Kreem Kraum Sah Bhaumaya Namaha 11 times. You can even listen to this, or you can just listen to this recording 11 times. Om Kram Kreem Kraum Sah Bhaumaya Namaha. Okay. Ganesha and Hanuman are two deities you can work with. Okay, so and 8 and 14 Mukhi Rudrakshas, very auspicious to wear if you know what Rudrakshas are. If you don't, never mind. Okay, fasting on Tuesdays, sometimes I do that. Then there's a real difficult aspect. Today is a difficult aspect, Mars square Venus, that I did not fast, but I usually do fast on Tuesdays, mostly as much as I can. And Then I do my Mars ritual and then I eat something. Red watermelon is good, pomegranate is good, and all of that. So the Kuja Gayatri is Om Angarakaya Vidmahe Bhumipalaya Dhimahi Tanno Kuja Prachodayat. Okay, and the simple puja you can do is by a Mars yantra, and every Tuesday you can chant Om Angarakaya Namaha, Om Angarakaya Namaha, Om Angarakaya Namaha, Om Angarakaya Namaha. There's another Mars mantra that I use. It is more from the Western tradition. It goes like this: Stella Martis, Mars Accelerator, Mars Conservator, Mars Ultor, Mars Victor. It means Star of Mars, Mars the Sister, Mars the Preserver, Mars the Avenger, Mars the Victor. I got this online ages ago. It's Mars adserter, sorry, not acclister, adserter. This is also another very powerful Mars invocation, especially if you're working with images and the sigil and the magic square of Mars. So before I go, I will chant for you the Babylonica Mantra, which is the mantra to appease Mars, especially during your difficult Mars aspects. Om Ling Bagalamukhin Sarvadushtanang Vachang Mukhang Padang Stambhyo Juhang Kiloya Kiloya Buddhing Nashaya Ling Om Swaha. Okay, so there's a longer version to this mantra. I have written a lot about Bagalamukhi Sadhana because I have been associated in Bagalamukhi Sadhana and been initiated in that Dasha Mahavidya. And I have been working with the Dasha Mahavidya since I was a child. So I am a Siddha of Bagalamukhi. So working with her has really alleviated all the problems that I have faced with my Mars in 4th position. Mars in Virgo is not a strong position, and Mars in the 1st house, yes, that's good, but you know, and plus I'm born in the time of Mars, the world time of Mars in a particular year. So I hope you like the video as much as I like making it for you. I hope you will check out my website, book a reading or book a spell, or try out the spell by yourself. Thank you. Take care.